John, are you there?
I'm right here.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us again. It means so much to us.
Hey.
Well,
Happy to be, anytime you want to play They Might Be Giants for 12 hours straight, I'll be there.
Okay, well, tomorrow? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, how did rehearsals go today?
Rehearsals can be strangely exhausting. Like it's you don't realize like how much energy it takes just to concentrate on. We're rehearsing a bunch of songs that we're tracking next week, new songs, and trying to just kind of take everything in and listen to everything as it's happening. I'm pooped.
So, new songs. Because I know John Linnell mentioned that you're going in to do some new things. Is this for, like, I don't want to pry, but for an upcoming record, or?
Well, it's sort of unclear, I mean, I think we tend to, we're just really sort of starting the process again, and some things are better than others. Some things are interesting. Some things might be like kind of too interesting. So it's like I over the years we've kind of gone from really like just releasing whatever the thing that we've just did was to kind of curating stuff a little bit more carefully. Like when we do, we'll do like in the last few years, we'll do a whole set of material and we'll kind of reject a third of it to make the album be stronger.
Sure. So that's in like 30 years when we buy the box set of that album, all of those tracks will be included on it. I'm hoping.
I guess that's right. Yeah, I guess that's really the way I mean, it's in some cases that good songs that are probably quite strong get cut because they're just kind of too close to other songs. Like we want to just put our best foot forward in like whatever category of if there's like, oh, this is like a good rockin' song, but it's not quite as rockin' as this other rockin' song, it might get kind of pruned out that way. So there is like a sort of a method to it. It's not purely like hierarchical. Like,
sure.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking some time off after a tiring practice to chat. We won't keep you. We won't keep you long.
I mean, it was not that long.
Okay.
So I've got all sorts of ideas.
Well, I want to thank you so much for including Minnesota once again in the tour dates and giving us 2 dates to choose from as well. So thank you so much for that.
Those just went up today, and they're both like well on their way to selling out, which is very exciting.
Fantastic.
Well,
what's nice about this St. Paul show is actually playing at the Fitzgerald Theater.
That's where we're all going to be. We're going to that show.
It'll be a sit-down show, so it'll be classy.
Yes.
I have a question.
We'll be in the opera box.
Yeah, I have a question for you. If you see somebody dressed up like Abraham Lincoln in one of the opera boxes, because Tom would do this since they're sitting up there, would you comment on it, or?
I think everyone will comment on it. Wait, the Fitzgerald has opera boxes?
They do.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Very ritzy.
Not a lot of them, but they've got a few of them. And Tom and Chantil are actually going to be in one of them. On your right-hand side.
I'm sure,
dressed as Abraham Lincoln.
Probably set up a light. I think maybe more of you should dress as Abraham Lincoln.
Well, Tim and I are going to be in the third row, so we'll put on some beards and a big hat, too.
Sure, why not? That's how you know the Mankato crowd is there.
That is great. Well, that's something to look forward to right there.
What if we get everybody to dress up as Lincoln and go?
That would be impressive. All the overstock Halloween costumes, they really banked on Lincoln this year.
We have until May for everybody to get black beards in the state of Minnesota.
Right. I like the way you guys are thinking.
Yes.
I actually on that tip, I have a question here from Jackson from Tacoma, Washington, who says, "Why did you grow a beard? Why did you grow a beard? I can't leave you alone for 5 minutes. What the Christ? What the devil?"
Well, I know the reason I have a beard is just I'm too lazy. But
that's why I grew my beard.
I think about it. I shave it like every month, and then it just don't think about it until it looks too freaky, and then I do it, shave it again. But that's my answer to that question.
Okay.
I love that because I'd never heard that song, and then we got a request for something off of that album, so I was just listening to stuff, and I went, and I heard that I can't leave you alone for 5 minutes. Why did you grow a beard? I just laughed so hard, and I played it for Tim, who has a big beard.
Like, I'm not sure what album. That doesn't actually appear on. That must be on a B-side compilation.
That is on a B-side compilation. Yep.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I remember when we did it. I think we recorded it during. God, when did that song come out?
Well, I could go to TMBW.
We were working on music for Malcolm in the Middle. I think when we did that, that was around the So I'm not sure.
Tim can type faster than I can.
Okay, well, while they're doing that research. Candy from North Bergen, New Jersey says, would you consider playing only songs from the last 5 years for at least 1 hour in the Flood shows? Please, 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 please.
So that's a request for you.
No, I think that's for you guys during the Flood concerts. If you could play an hour
during the Flood.
Yeah.
Well, I think the strange thing about the whole thing of doing Flood shows is I don't think people realize how long an evening with concert is. I mean, Flood is less than 40 minutes long, and our show is 2 hours plus. So there's plenty of room for other stuff, and I think we will, because we're going to be playing multiple Flood nights in New York City. I think it sort of behooves us to mix it up a little bit on the other material. So yeah, we'll be playing lots of. I don't know if we'll play a monolithic 1 hour set of recent less loved stuff. But
I don't know if I'd say it's less loved.
But we brought this up to John Linnell too, because somebody asked a question about they did a poll about songs that they would like to hear if you guys play that you don't do that often in shows, and a lot of them were older songs, and so he said, well, I would do it if they were songs that weren't 30 years old. But we've been taking requests for today, and we're close to 450 requests at this point.
Wow.
I would say 80% of them are off of albums from the last 10 years. 80% of those requests.
I think it's there is there's sort of a clutch of material that we've actually performed for the last 30 years that we probably would feel differently about if we hadn't played the song, some of them a billion times.
Yeah.
But, by and large, I think, one of the nicer things about our setup is that there's quite a bit of elbow room for everything, and it's not a lot of bands, I think they almost make it harder on themselves, they kind of don't give themselves permission to do too much of one thing or another, and they really stick to the hits. But we probably. I know we've done shows where we haven't played Birdhouse, but I don't think there have been many. I think it would be weird if we didn't do it. But.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Because I've been to my show at the Fitz. I think will be my 6th time that I've seen you guys play. I don't know what I'd feel like if you didn't play Birdhouse in Your Soul.
I think
I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be seem kind of stingy. It's I saw those guys and they didn't do the song. Yeah, English bands do their hits at the beginning and at the end. They'll repeat a hit, which is a very weird tradition. But if you're a one-hit wonder band, they'll often. I saw Haircut 100 do their hit song twice.
Oh, really?
In a show.
The legendary Stardust Cowboy did that.
Yes.
But it was actually kind of satisfying. It was these guys actually know why everybody's here. It's they know their audience.
Was that Love Plus One, or was it Girl Meets Boy?
It was the Boy Meets Girl.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I did that twice.
Side
project. It was like a Talking Head song, really.
Oh, God, yeah, it is.
You know? Yeah.
I could totally hear that.
Yeah.
Well, just know that because as I said that people love the new stuff, I got like 3 text messages saying, "Tell them that we love the new stuff." So,
well, I mean that's very kind. I mean, we try to just put in as much new stuff as feels like winning. You know, I think it is a strange thing. I think it's like a very modern phenomenon of people. I mean, rock bands don't usually last that long, so it's a funny thing to sort of be pitted against your own history. But these Flood shows, man, the funny thing I was saying this to a friend of mine the other day, like he was congratulating me on having all these sold out shows because it's been just sort of this weird, like,
it's like a happening.
Yeah, it's this exponentially different response to doing these flood putting these flood shows up for sale. Like they all sell out instantly, which is just not. We have not been like working under this kind of scarcity thing until we did the show. And I was saying the funny thing is like I feel like we do all the most popular songs from Flood in almost any given show, and I just don't think I don't know how many people are going to be like. How many people have been waiting? I don't know. I mean, this is the wrong format because you guys are like the front rowiest of the front row.
Wearing Lincoln outfits.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited, and we had asked John Linnell earlier, and he said that you're going to be adding some more dates on as well. So I know everybody's really excited about that.
It was not really a plan, and then it kind of, I think once we realized, like once we sort of tripped over the whole thing, and it seemed like, oh, this would be something that would be of tremendous interest to people. It's easy for us, it's not tricky. We've done Flood shows in the past, and when we've done stands and stuff. What I'd really like to do is graduate to always touring, like doing the two night stands, because then things would slow down enough that we'd actually be able to, see the places that we're playing, would be fun.
Well, you do know that Mankato, again, is along the way from Chicago to the Twin Cities, so if you want to stop by KMSU again,
yes.
Tim promises he won't spill coffee on you.
Shut up!
I wasn't supposed to bring it up, but he will never do that
monster.
Again.
Well, I will, we'll find out what the touring, I mean, I'm not sure how we're getting anywhere. I guess we'll be on a tour bus. I don't know.
Teleportation.
Well, if the bus is going through town, we'll be
awesome.
Well, I have a question that we got about Monopuff and whether or not you might revisit that since we're talking about old music. But with John Linnell having state songs coming out on Record Store Day, and well as your guys' first EP is coming out on Black Friday Record Store Day, would you ever maybe throw Monopuff out onto vinyl as well?
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, I would love that. I
would love
that. I don't know where the artwork is. The funny thing about digital stuff being in the digital domain is that there are a lot of things that have just kind of disappeared into the ether. Whereas, like when you revisit, like doing reissuing stuff from the 80s or 90s, where there's physical things.
Oh yeah.
Like the physical things are still around, but the covers to the digital stuff are all just like, yeah, that file doesn't open anymore.
Wow.
Stuff from 2000 is. I have all these burned CDs, like deep CDRs that don't.
They
work.
don't work after X amount of years. Yeah.
It all just looks like the Terminator's face peeling off.
Well, I would be behind not only the Monopuff on vinyl, but I'm gonna just one more time champion Mink Car on vinyl, please.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, even if you need to crowdsource it, I think that wouldn't be an issue. I think enough people would be interested because that's one of my favorite albums, and it's not on vinyl. So
yeah,
as a completist, it hurts my heart.
But like you gotta be careful with the crowdsourcing stuff, right? Like because that joke is only once, so you kind of want to do like the ultimate thing. If you're going to crowdsource something, you want it to be. You got to figure out like the ultimate. It's like the ultimate fan ask for a band, I think.
Sure.
I remember. I think Public Enemy tried to crowdsource an album. And they were asking for some insane amount of money, and people were just like, no,
not since Flavor Flav's gone kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. Is like you don't necessarily want to just be an enabler,
Yeah. Although I still love Chuck D.
I don't know. Yeah, the crowdsourcing thing. I guess are there big bands doing crowdsourcing these days? Like,
well, there are even directors that do crowdsourcing to make their movies to some extent.
Oh yeah,
like Spike Lee did that.
Or Mystery Science Theater 3000 a few years ago. They got their season on Netflix. That was all crowdfunded.
Did M. Night Shyamalan even crowdfund something?
I don't know.
Maybe he did.
Really?
I thought he did for the one that he made after all the bombs, and then it was a good movie. But anyway, I digress.
Anyway.
Somebody out there would know all about M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, I have a Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
On the subject of M. Night Shyamalan, I was once flying on Tower Air and watching that Sixth Sense movie, which was the first like Bruce Willis movie I think I'd ever seen, and I was just like captivated by the movie. And then as we were there's all sorts of turbulence and stuff, and as we were and I totally. I totally missed the last 15 minutes of the movie.
You missed the M. Night Shyamalan twist? Oh no!
And then like as we were landing, like the credits to the movie ran, and I was like, wow, that was a really enigmatic film. Very very quiet. My wife Robin actually had to explain to me what everything that I had missed.
Have you ever watched that missing 15 minutes?
No, I've never seen it again. But I did recently see. I've never seen Die Hard. The original Die Hard with Bruce Willis.
Sure.
It is a fantastic movie. It's
got to watch it around Christmas.
I saw it around Christmas, I guess, a couple of years ago, and it was just like it was so good. It was just like he was really funny. I mean, who knew? I didn't know.
He's good in the Wes Anderson movies.
Oh, I mean, I know people like him, but I can have very snobby. I tend to not like movies as much as I think most people do. But anyway, enough about what a snob I am.
Eric in Oklahoma wants to know who Ajax Digital Design is. They made a lot of the Dial-A-Song videos, but there's no information about them that they can find.
Oh, that was me.
Oh.
I put them together. I just I didn't really. I didn't want to sort of distract people by saying that a lot of the stuff was like found footage and sort of manipulated found footage, and I just didn't feel like it was didn't want to take full credit for something, or I don't know. I always think it's odd when a guy in the band does something like that. It's sort of I don't know. I didn't want to.
We'll keep it a secret.
We'll
keep it a secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe here's one that's kind of related. Amber from Avoca, Iowa says, there's so much amazing fan art of TMBG, and the band has always seemed to follow a well-curated design aesthetic. How do you tend to discover and select artists to work with the band formally? And we're looking here in the studio. A fan sent us the most amazing crocheted
there's a
cover
big card
art
from Join Us. There's two bluebirds.
Yep, bluebirds.
There's the cover of John or
Apollo
18. It's
Uh-huh.
there's the skulls from John Henry
And
that they crocheted.
Yeah. And we've been seeing all of this amazing art that has been posted on Twitter and everything. It's so, I mean, there could almost be like a TMBG fan art museum or something.
Oh, yeah, and there's all this stuff that this guy Todd Alcott has done that's like this Photoshop, like kind of history of graphic design with, like, They Might Be Giants kind of inserted in this Zelig-like way. But, the fan art is kind of unto itself. I'm not sure exactly how that tradition started, but it really thrives online. You know, the They Might Be Giants Tumblr is like very, very hyperactive with all that stuff. And it's very cool, but I can't say that I know where that energy comes from. In terms of like the art direction on the albums, that's something that, both John and I have like talked a lot about. And basically whenever we see like an illustrator or an art director or a photographer that seems like they're doing really interesting work and their aesthetic works with ours, we just kind of make note of it and ultimately make the cold call. But it's not, I wish there was more of a community of people than, I feel like I just spend a lot of my life just like calling up strangers and asking them if they'll do me a huge favor. And sometimes they say yes and sometimes they say no, but yeah, it's we've been really lucky. I think we've been really we've sort of helped a lot of people kind of create portfolio pieces for what ultimately would be like a bigger deal career. And that's interesting. A lot of people have, like, I don't know, there's a lot of great visual artists out there, and it's nice to be able to kind of give people their first break.
Cool. Did you have one, Tim, or you?
I have a question here from Carrie in East Lansing, Michigan. What does a typical Flans day look like, and is there such a thing?
Oh yeah, I have a very simple life. I spend a lot of time in the country now, and I tend to get up super early. I often will like play tennis at the crack of dawn with my friend David, who has to be at work at like 8:00 in the morning. So we'll be like, I'll have to get up at like 5:30 or 6, and we'll play for 45 minutes. And then I drink a lot of coffee in the morning and try to just get as much done as I possibly can. I've been sort of reworking my workspace and done a lot of like I've been like just digging through a lot of junk. I've been transferring a lot of like old They Might Be Giants material from a DAT machine. That's been kind of like what I've been doing a lot recently. So like the music takes a lot of time. So but I don't know. I wish I had more to show for it, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, I think you guys have plenty to show for it, just based on the output of music and everything that we get on our end.
2017 was a good year productivity-wise for us. I wish 2019 was as hot as 2017.
I don't know. We always joke about how the first couple times that we spoke with you, you're like, we're doing a lot and we were super busy. This might have been like 2015, 2013 or something.
Right.
And we're going to take a year off, and then it'd be like, we're going to put out 3 albums this year. We're going to tour, and we're going to do Dial-A-Song on our off year.
Yeah, I feel like 2019, I spent a lot of time staring out the window in 2019, to be perfectly honest.
You probably needed to recharge a little, though.
I think so. Yeah, there have been a couple of break-off points. I remember when, I think we talked about this right before we did Join Us, we started about 6 months before we actually started writing and recording Join Us. We went into the studio with the full intention of recording an album, and we just started recording some stuff, and it was like, these songs are really weird. Like, we might be, because we had put out, I guess, The Elf, and we had put out 2 kids records, and We basically put out 3 records in a row over the course of like 16 months. And then we embarked on doing yet a 4th record. And it was like...
That's a lot unless you're guided by voices.
Yes. Yeah, we need to take a little break here, I think. Because it was just overwhelming. We just like kind of Wile E. Coyote'd ourselves creatively. And then it was just like, woo. But, it's a good job.
Well, I also want to just throw this out there. We've heard from all 50 states with requests. We are waiting on the continent of Africa. Otherwise, we have all 6 continents spoken for as well.
Wow.
So if you have any Africa connections, anybody living in Africa, we'd love to hear from you.
Wow. I'll try tweeting that out.
That would be fantastic. Because we've gotten 2 years in a row. All 7 continents, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so this would be the 3rd year in a row, and then all 50 states. And like I said, over 400, we're up to 434 requests, which is just amazing.
That's massive.
Yeah, and not a lot of them are repeats either, which just speaks to your as a band, just how you can spend 12 hours and not really, although I guess I've repeated Am I Awake? Or no, what's the song that Where Your Eyes Don't Go? I guess I've inadvertently repeated 3 times. So I apologize.
Well, it doesn't sound too inadvertent if you got there a 3rd time.
But just if you could help us out on that Africa, that would be great.
I'll tweet it out. Hey, Fresh, how's it going? Things are getting a little hectic here. I think I've got to jump off.
No problem. Okay. But thank you so much for checking in with us, and we look forward to seeing you in May, right around our birthdays, because your birthday.
All right. Well, happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to me.
And then we'll see you at the Fitzgerald. We'll be all dressed like Abraham Lincoln.
I love that. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks again, John.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Adios. Bye.
Oh, we did it.